PlayStation VR had its full year in 2017, and it brought with it a lot of interesting game releases. While not all of them were absolutely amazing, PSVR is still a platform that's trying to find itself, but we want to take a look at 10 PlayStation VR titles that you should look at from 2017. Let's get right into this. Number 1, Resident Evil 7 BIOHAZARD. So Resident Evil 7 BIOHAZARD isn't a PlayStation VR exclusive experience. While many would prefer to play Resident Evil 7 BIOHAZARD with a traditional controller, it also offered a VR component, and it was very well done. It added another layer to the horror atmosphere of the game, and if you've already played through the game once with a controller and you just recently picked up PlayStation VR, there is reason to revisit the game and play through it with PSVR. It's a different kind of experience. You already know how great of a game Resident Evil 7 is. We gave it our best horror game of 2017, and with PlayStation VR, that experience is altered. I wouldn't say made better, it's just different.
Daddy's coming. We need to go. We need to go now!
What the fuck are you?
Shut up and listen if you want to stay alive.
SUPERHOT VR. SUPERHOT was originally released on PC, and that version of the game gained a lot of traction with its original release. It's a fast-paced first-person shooter. It's a first-person shooter on the surface, but it's also got strategy elements to it where positioning and timing really do matter. It released on PlayStation 4 earlier this year, and with that version, it also came with PlayStation VR support, and PlayStation VR works really well with SUPERHOT. It's already a very enjoyable game, although lacking a little bit in the content side. It offers a very unique experience, and VR only adds to that uniqueness. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim VR. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim has seen so many different releases. We saw the original Skyrim on the PS3, Xbox 360, and PC, then we saw it on Xbox One and PS4, then we saw it on Nintendo Switch, and then we also saw it on PlayStation VR. PlayStation VR does add a new element to Skyrim. It's amazing going through the world of Skyrim in PlayStation VR, and while it could be a little nauseating at first, it is a pretty incredible experience nonetheless. Farpoint. AAA big budget games that are built ground up exclusively for PlayStation VR are still few and far between, but I would definitely classify Farpoint as one of those games. It's a first-person shooter with great visuals, high production values, and solid gameplay. Is it an absolute perfect first-person shooter from design standpoint? No, but given the options available on PlayStation VR, this is the best standalone FPS available on the platform.
Location unknown.
Speaking of first-person shooters, you also have to give Doom VFR a mention. That game has also made a fantastic transition over to VR. It is a little bit different than Doom from 2016. It's a more stripped-down, fast-paced experience. You could say it keeps all the killer and eliminates all the filler, and I would say that's relatively accurate. But what Doom VFR does is it captures all the brutality of Doom while not losing anything, and still keep it suited for your VR experience. Rec Room. Rec Room was one of the more interesting VR games of the year. It's a virtual reality social club where you play games with friends from all around the world. Create an avatar, then head to the rec center to the party up for paintball, epic co-op quests, and casual mini-games like 3D charades and disc golf. And you can even create your own game using an ever-expanding variety of creative tools. Rec Room is a pretty interesting game, and you can join the fun for free. Gran Turismo Sport. Gran Turismo Sport was probably the most anticipated PlayStation VR title of the year. It is also playable without VR, but VR was a big selling point for Sport, and it's the latest installment to one of the most iconic franchises on all of PlayStation. It's Gran Turismo, and it's very well designed. From the graphics, sound, and physics. It becomes the most realistic driving simulator on consoles to date. PlayStation VR doesn't give us a revolutionary experience. We already saw a racing sim with Drive Club. However, Gran Turismo Sport also transitions to VR very well. And whether you've been a fan of Gran Turismo or you're a newcomer and you want to check out the game in VR, it's worthwhile for both parties.
The tracks are so accurate. It's very good for sight lines. It's going to be much closer to the real thing.
I'm driving this rally car and I'm getting it massively sideways, and I'm looking through the passenger side window, and then as the car sort of regains grip and goes straight, I'm looking dead ahead and everything transitions how it would in normal life. Combine that with the steering wheel and pedals, it's the closest thing you've got.
Gran Turismo Sport is gonna bring an absolutely new era of racing.
Megaton Rainfall. Megaton Rainfall is a first-person superhero game. A global alien invasion is taking place and you must face it alone. Chase massive destruction devices at supersonic speeds around an Earth that's as large as the real thing and populated with semi-procedurally generated cities. Megaton Rainfall is a very high-octane game. It's one of the lower-key PSVR titles of the year, but definitely give it a look. The Invisible Hours. The Invisible Hours is a complex murder mystery in VR in which players freely explore an intricate web of interwoven stories within a sprawling mansion. PlayStation VR and quality mystery games seem like a match made in heaven, and The Invisible Hours definitely represents that. Yeah, and just like all of the VR titles on this list, it's not absolutely perfect, but it has set the foundation for what could develop into the premier genre for VR. Mystery and exploration just go hand in hand with PSVR, and that's where the platform is really gonna shine if Sony can tap into those genres. For now, while not perfect, The Invisible Hours is worth your time and money.
Now hear this, all of you. I know you think I'm a fool.
No!
But I promise you, this will not go unpunished. This will not go unpunished! Stop!
And finally, Raw Data. Raw Data is a style of game that we've seen put on a lot of VR platforms. It's a game that's heavy on the action combat gameplay, it's got solid controls, and while on the surface it does look like a very streamlined experience, it works very well on VR and it does have a solid amount of depth to it. And with Raw Data, you can go solo or you can team up with a friend, and it's a ton of fun with a lot of adrenaline attached to it. Raw Data, among all of games, is one of the surprising hits of the year, and it's a game not a lot of people are talking about. That's just the case with a lot of VR exclusive experiences. Not everybody has VR, so a lot of these games go really under the radar and you really have to dig to find them. Raw Data is one that you should definitely check out. I would say it's a must-own title for VR owners.
Steal the data and fight your way through hordes of endless killing machines. 4 hackers, 10 missions, cutting-edge weapons, A hack-and-go arsenal of turrets and shields stand between you and single-minded battle androids. Permanently set to annihilate.
So that wraps up 10 awesome PlayStation VR games from 2017. What do you think? Which VR games did you enjoy the most this year? Let us know in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.